Hello everybody, welcome back to another session of the Hopry. My name is Mark Starr and today is Friday, so that means one thing and one thing only. We are going to be wrapping up another week dedicated to beer, and this week in particular we have focused on milk stouts or sweet stouts, however you want to categorize them yourself. So today, Friday, what I thought we would look at is the Surly 4. It is a double espresso milk stout that clocks in right at 10%, and it comes from Surly Brewing out of Minnesota. In fact, it's in Brooklyn Center, Minnesota, and they're known for brewing some of the best craft beers in cans on the market. They also have their one-time-a-year release called Surly Darkness, which is an imperial stout, kind of much like the Three Floyd's Dark Lord. But anyway, I got a couple of these in a trade not too long ago, and really kind of been looking forward to busting one of these open. I haven't had one yet, so really, kind of anxious to see what Surly's got going on in these big stouts. Now, I did open their Surly Smoke not too long ago, which is pretty much a smoked porter, so that was a very good beer. I imagine this one's going to be a very good beer as well. But anyway, let's go ahead and pour it and dig in. I'm really excited about this. So should be a pretty good way to end another week. And I'd say this week was actually pretty good. So now I did pour this one a little bit harder, partially because I wasn't even thinking, but that's fine. But you can see there's a really good amount of, 2-3 fingers worth of head, mainly because of the glass that I'm using. But, the color on it, obviously really dark, but it's got that, dark prune and raisin color right around the edges when you hold it up to the light. Really good head retention on this one, and I think that's a good indicator of a really good beer. Now, because it is a double espresso milk stout, milk stouts are typically sweeter. Again, as I mentioned before, they use a lactose milk sugar, so it does tend to give the stouts a little bit more sweetness. Because this is a double, I'm really kind of just moving my glass around in a circle like that because I just want to see what the viscosity is like on the glass. Beers that typically sludge to the side of the glass tell you that they're going to have a really big mouthfeel. Sometimes they're very silky smooth, sometimes they're just chewy sweet messes. But for the most part, I'm a fan of beers that really kind of have that beefiness when it comes to body, because that usually comes with a really good amount of flavor. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and smell it and see what's going on up in Brooklyn Center, Minnesota. So there's definitely that coffee in there, and when I say coffee, I want to point out that they don't just use coffee. It's actually it's espresso beans. Let's get in there and see if it lives up to that. Yeah, I mean, like I said a minute ago, it really does have that nice, rich espresso coffee smell. In terms of smokiness, I would say there's probably just a little bit. It's really not at the forefront of the beer. I'm getting mostly the chocolate and the coffee and the malts. The malts are kind of putting off a really nice sort of almost like a pungent floral aroma. And I know that those two smells usually kind of contradict each other, but it's a really nice smell. Well, let's go ahead and drink it. That's what it's for, right? Alrighty. Woo! I would really, I hesitate to say that this is even a milk stout. Obviously, because they use the lactose milk sugar. You can classify it a milk stout. This thing is just ginormous on my palate, though. The second I take a sip of it, it's bitter, it's sweet, it's intense, it's very, the coffee flavor is just right up front. And I'm imagining that a lot of that bitterness is coming from all of those espresso beans. Man, I mean, I hope I'm not running around the yard naked after this because of all the caffeine. Won't be the last time I've done it. Really, man, I'm telling you, this is a very, very good beer. You know, I love things that are extremely flavorful. I'm not saying that it has to go to the point where it's obnoxious, but I really, you know, I really like beers that have a lot of intensity, and, you know, this has got a lot of intensity, but the maltiness, the sweetness, the bitterness, everything is really intertwined nicely here. Now that's not to say that it's subtle. I don't even know that that's to say that it's the most balanced beer. I will say that it's very balanced, but I think that that bitterness is really just, it's knocking me on my ass right now, and that's a good thing. This is definitely not one that you're just going to, you know, have a buddy come over, pour it in a glass, and knock one of these back in 15 minutes. You can really let this one sit on your palate for a long time and still have that flavor. You know, this is really up there for me with, and when I say up there, I don't mean, I'm not even talking about scoring it. I'm talking about just the intensity that's going on in my mouth right now. It really reminds me a lot of the Oscar Blues 1050. It reminds me of a slightly softer version of the Three Floyd's Dark Lord that I had earlier this year. And you know, for a 10% beer too, I'm not getting a whole lot of burn from the alcohol. It's really well hidden in there. And I did want to point out as well before I end tonight that the name 4 just basically means this is their 4th anniversary beer. So every year, you know, they kind of let Todd Hogg, the brewer of Surly, kind of just do what he wants to do. And so if you want, I can go ahead and list the first 3 beers that they did. They're all different. But anyway, this was the one that they brewed for their 4th anniversary. And I'll tell you what, just the fact that it's their 4th anniversary, and I'm going to have to go back and do some checking. If they've really only been open for 4 years, I would say this is some pretty goddamn good beer for a brewery that's only been open for 4 years. Yeah, really, really love it. Really love it. This one will get pretty good score from me. Is it a highlight from this year? Yeah, actually it is. I'm really digging this one a lot. And it's at the perfect temperature too. Wow, man. Friday night and this beer is a very good thing. Well guys, I'm going to go ahead and cut it off here, and you know, just a random question. I wanted to know what your thoughts were on the recent news stories about LeBron James leaving the Cavaliers and going to Miami. You know, I was watching it a little bit today when I got home and saw people in Ohio burning his jersey, and I just thought that was a little much. But let me know what your thoughts are. Do you think the Heat are better off now? Anyway, just tell me your thoughts. But anyway, my name is Mark Starr. You can go to twitter.com/thehopry, or go to my website, thehopry.com, and we will see you next week. Make sure you come back. I've got a really good surprise for you guys for Boulevard Brewery Week. And then we'll be, I guess, doing my 100th session. So, all right, guys, cheers.